my plan. So here's what stinks. And without going into too much detail, I woke up without my alarm clock yesterday, realizing that I was sick. That's all the detail you need to know. Because beyond that is like, boys telling stories, trying to gross each other out. So I had to quickly write subplans. And my plan was like to stick with my homework is due on Tuesdays. Right? That was my plan. So I was going to say like last week's homework due today. But we're so close to the end of the chapter that would leave like one homework out, or like two homeworks out in a way. So what I'm going to do instead, and no one, as of when I checked my bin this morning, had turned in homework, so we should be good. What I'm going to do instead is all the homework from last week and this week, so the rest of chapter 4, whatever we haven't turned in yet, which I will show you like exact detail by detail tomorrow, but that I'm going to collect on tomorrow or Thursday. So ideally, if you're done with everything by tomorrow, including the closure, you just turn it in tomorrow. But notice how the homeworks over there are kind of slanted. So 433, a lot of you have that done, but it's still technically homework for today because I told you guys I'd give you 2 days of it being assigned. The closure homework, as told to you yesterday, is not technically homework until tomorrow. But if you already know by the end of class today that you don't have it done, and you have 433 done, and you find some time tonight, you should work on that, right? You might as well get it taken care of. So you could be totally done with everything by tomorrow. We're likely going to start your mastery tomorrow. Like, unless something dramatic happens today that I realize, like, oh my gosh, we're not ready. Like, we're going to do your mastery tomorrow, and then finish it on Thursday, because that's when quarter 2 grading cuts off. Don't ask me about Friday. I don't know what we're doing yet. But that's the plan as of now. So Homework is not actually due today. I will need it all by Thursday. And again, it's going to be one of those things where I'm no longer hunting people down. Like, you've known this, you've had time for this. Like, really, you should get it done and turn it in tomorrow. That would be the best bet. But I will remind you one more time on Thursday, hey, if you haven't done this, do it. And then it's just going in math. Okay, you're going to realize things are going to start to get in math quicker for me. Like that quiz we just took, like, is in math already, even though you didn't have it back yet. Really, if we're honest with ourselves, if we had done our homework and asked questions when we needed to, we should have mastered that. And most of us did, which is good. But if you didn't master that, that should kind of be an indication to you, you need to put a little bit more like thought into the homework that you're doing. And attention to, do I know this or not? And honesty on, do I actually know this? Because I straight up told you I was going to ask for the definition of unit rate. And still, some of you people didn't have it. All of us teachers lament with each other together. I showed them the entire test, and still, they, like, guys, come on. Prep the best way possible. If you see an assessment beforehand, there's no reason not to master it.
But also, like, that with unit and unit, if you do not know that, you actually understand the whole test, because the whole test
it's pretty much based around, exactly. Yeah, you know, saying if you didn't know that thing, probably the whole test was difficult for you, because the whole test was basically centered around that. So sorry, I did not put this up on the screen, so I'm still deciding what we're doing. But grab some algebra tiles for your group. You want to make sure we're comfortable with this. So people over here, grab from there, and then over here. I'm just going to steal this desk. Everything that hasn't been turned in. So I think yes. I would need to check map really quick to check where my last grading cut. Well, I can tell you from my grade book.
I want to get right into France.
I've collected up to 423. Now some people accidentally turned in 424, so I wrote that down. Yo, so Brendan is asking specifically, so I'm giving the specific answer. And yet you don't care. What is going to be collected is 424 up through foreclosure. Okay, so I collected up through 423 last time I did the check, and then we took the mini mastery and stuff. That was all last week. Or not. You know what I mean. 424 and forward will be collected. So we're going to do some quick review and practice and just kind of like playing with the algebra tiles. Those of you that were just wanting to make shapes, today will make you happy, because now we're like making shapes and trying to construct things. But again, please be aware of where they are. And if you see one fall, Don't just be like, meh, I'll get another. Like, pick it up. Okay, my afternoon class is picking up the slack from you guys, and we turn on all the lights for them, and they, like, search. Right? But you need to respect the fact that, like, we're chilling. But if you drop it, pick it up, please. Kevin, what's up? You might be able to share. Some of the bags have gotten a little goofed up, so they don't all have the same exact amount of tiles. So, I don't know, one per person would be safe. So, we first want to make this rectangle. Yeah. We're on 433. We're back. So I kind of time traveled because I was out and I wanted you guys working on closure yesterday. This is still 433 and it's 107. We are going to put a little bit more time into closure here. We're probably only going to do this for about 15 minutes and then give you more time for closure or whatever homework. You want to make a rectangle with a width of 3 and a length of x plus 5. And then check with your partners, do you have the same thing? Remember the difference between x and x squared. Be careful, x's are rectangles, x squareds are squares. You should be using your blue rectangles. I chatted with a couple of you last week. You were trying to use the purple ones, which technically we could, but CPM names things in a specific manner, so we want to use the blue ones. Later. Later in this book, and then also in 8th grade math, you do it a lot. What? I'm not sure. I have too many classes to keep everything straight. I have to look at the book to double check it.
Man, that's one class. They've been doing that same project for many weeks.
What do you mean?
The same.
Oh, you're funny. So, a width of 3. A width of 3. I should probably get out some paper so you guys can see what I'm doing. Width of 3. Length of x plus 5. Now there's an easier way and a harder way to do this. Yeah, I'd like to get little containers for all of you. Yeah, it holds them together a little bit better. Alright, so give me your attention for just a second. And I know my screen's dark. So when we first start looking at this, the first thing they tell us is width of 3. Right? So I can get out 3 1 tiles and say, okay, this is 3. But if I don't use 1 tiles and instead use the x tiles, could I still have a width of 3 if I didn't have those 1s? Yes. So then, think about length of x plus 5. If I keep these 1 tiles over here, I'm going to need to do 5 more. Like, I got to have 5 sets of those. Or what could I use alternatively? Eva? Yeah, if we replace the 1 tiles with the 5 tile, is it still a width of 3?
Yes.
Yeah. Is it still a length of x plus 5? Yeah.
0.
So now, hold up. I want you to sketch this in your notes really quick, but here's how easy we could do it. Draw a rectangle. Now, I could write x plus 5, or I could write 5 plus x. It's going to be the same thing. How tall is this? Or how wide did we make it? 3. Right, and remember in geometry, you can kind of move things around so it doesn't make a big difference. Split your rectangle. What's the area of this section? With the 3 by the 5? 15, right? Ooh, and then this section is 3 by x, and we get 3x. So our combined area there, why aren't you writing there? All right, it's broken for some reason. Equals 3x and 15. Now you could say 15 and 3x, or you could say 3x and 15. Now Casey did it a really cool way too. He had set up his 3 first on the one side, then he did his x's, then he realized, oh, I need 4 more of a length. So he actually has 3 of these over out on the end and kind of flipped around. So we could break up that group of 15 and make the shape look differently. The only thing we can't do here if we start moving things around, anyone have an idea of the only thing we're not allowed to do? Can I line that up there? No, because remember, x is not countable. So move on to part B. 2 equal groups of 3x minus 2.
What?
2 groups
Make 2 groups
of 3x and a negative 2. So now we're not worried about the shape. Just make 2 groups of 3x minus 2. Don't worry about the shape. Just make the groups. Remember how we show the negatives? Probably. There's other pencil shavings at the one part of my room where the fan was blocking it, so it's not like it's, you know what I mean? Erase this. Then, once you have your groups, which I think unless we don't have enough tiles, I think a lot of us have gotten to here. Now here's the tougher part of it. Write this using the distributive property. Show me how to write this. 2 groups of 3x and a negative 2, but write it using the distributive property in your notes. So how do we show 2 groups of something? 2 groups of 3. We don't need to buy that. So we're supposed to be making 2 groups of 3x and a negative 2. We expect this looking tile. Okay, we're going to have there's 3 x's. Right, these are x's, right? So we have as x, 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 3x. And negative 1, negative 2. 3 more x's. But sometimes you have to put the pile off to the side. There's an x, there's an x, and then another negative 2. So there's negative 1. So then we go write that out, showing how we say 2 groups of. So you want to kind of keep these separated for the moment. So they're 2 separate groups. How do we write that out mathematically? Why don't we go the rest of the day? Now when I said write this, write that, split your rectangle, show the area.
Yes, I do. I actually do.
And that means if you're lying to your mom, that's even bigger. How do I write this using the distributive property? Brendan? Shoot. I don't really want to use colors since colors now mean something. So 2 times parenthesis 3x minus 2. If you don't have that on your paper, please write that right now. And that doesn't mean if you feel like it, Riley. I'm tired of walking around and seeing that people are blatantly not doing what they should be. If you don't have that, write it. So that literally shows us, in the mathematical way, we have 2 sets of whatever is in the parentheses. So since I have 2 sets of 3x and 2 sets of negative 2, I can more easily talk about what I have if I put it all together. How do I show that?
Oh.
What's my next step when I have distributive property?
Well.
Ivan?
The arrows.
The arrows! So draw the arrows right now. Each of those tells you to do what operation? Multiply. We got some people that can't handle tiles being on their desk. What's 2 times 3x?
6x.
6x.
Negative 4.
Negative 4.
There
So
we
you
go.
do not have that. Please write it right now. Now, what's another way that we could actually write that expression in a way that we like better, Riley?
6x plus negative 4.
6x plus a negative 4. Because if I'm talking about what I physically have on my tile mat, right, or whatever the space where we are working, we physically have 4 negatives. Can I take away 4 units from my 6 x's? No, I don't know how big they are. I don't actually know what x is, or we don't actually know what this size is. So although it looks like, yeah, I could cut off a 1 and cut off a 1, we can't, or we don't know how big that is. Questions? Comments, concerns? Debating how much time to spend on this.
Oh, yeah.
Build 4 rows of 2x plus 1. Now you might not have enough x's, so I would say maybe work with a partner on this one. Build 4 rows of 2x plus 1. 4 rows of 2x plus 1. Yeah, groups works too. Or groups. So then those of you that are intuitive can guess where we're going, where they're going to write this out using the distributive property. Technically, which way do rows go? Horizontal. Columns go vertical. Alright, I want to make sure I give you guys some time for closure. So, if you don't have something like this, you should. Now, I see some people who make groups, and that's okay if you make groups, but it specifically asks us for rows. Right? So when it says for rows, you should be learning from Mrs. Pettigrew's class. Columns hold up the buildings. Right? Those Roman columns and all the different types that you learn about. Rows go sideways. They go horizontally. On your paper, real quick, draw a rectangle. And split it to look like what we just made. So draw the little divisions to have X's and then 1's. Guys, we should not be digging around our tiles anymore. We are using our pencils. We are writing notes. Sorry, I should put them down for now. Draw that rectangle. How do we label our dimensions of this? Eva?
Oh.
Sorry.
At the top and bottom, we can do 2x plus 1.
Yeah, we seriously have 2 X's in length plus 1, but I can't put those together because I don't actually know what the X's are. You got this. How tall is this, Aiden?
What are we for?
4. No.
No.
Even though those are X's, and I love that you just said that, so thank you. Even though these are X tiles, they're X long, but they're each 1 tall. If you need to, in your notes, label that each of these tiles is an X. And 1, 1, 1, 1. When we go to write the area, we want to show this using the distributive property. How would I write that? Ava?
Wait, wouldn't it be 2x times 4 plus 1?
Ooh, you're real close. We got to use the thing that's alone first, and then the things that are together as the group. Sky, what do you think?
4 and then in parentheses 2x plus 1, and then you would draw the arrow, and then...
Yeah, so hold on, everyone catch up to this point. Our area is going to be, if we just do length times width, it is 4, our height, our width, whatever you want to call it, times the 2x plus 1. You with me?
By rows. I was so confused.
And then, exactly as Sky said, we draw the arrows to tell me what multiplication to do. What's 4 times 2x?
8x.
8x. What's 4 times 1?
4.
And that is our area, because we cannot put those together. So those expressions are equivalent, right? They're the same thing. Just one is a bit simpler than the other. Instead of saying I have 4 sets of 2x plus 1, I'm going to say I have 8x and 4. Questions on this? It could easily be on the mastery. Like we've been working on this stuff for like over a week now. Any questions on this? If I gave you a tile grouping, could you tell me what it is? If I gave you a set of tiles like together, could you tell me what the perimeter is? Right, and we dealt with that x minus 1, x minus 2, those things. If I gave you a set of tiles, could you tell me what things cancel out to 0, like where those additive inverses or 0 pairs are? Think through, am I comfortable with the algebra tiles? Ava?
I have 2 questions.
Yeah.
So why on the left side do we have a 4, but why on the right side don't we have like 1 plus 1 plus 1?
Oh, we could. If we're labeling everything, we could either label this side 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1, or together, it's still a combined length or height or whatever you want to say at 4. The bottom I could label as x plus 1 if I wanted to. Or I could label it as 2x plus 1. Like,
Why do we only have the plus 1 on the top?
because I cannot add these together. That's why those still have to be separated. Because the two x's, I don't actually know what that is. Because I don't know what the x is. I know what the 1 is. It's just a length of 1, like 1 centimeter, 1 inch, whatever unit we're working in. It's just 1, but I don't know how long this actually is. Remember the whole Stretch Armstrong thing? This could, like, I could blink and it could stretch and be, like, totally different. Because I don't know what the x is. Right now it looks like it's, like, 4. Right? We said it looked like, but that looks like, it doesn't mean that's what it is.
We found out that it could be smaller than the 1.
Yeah, it could be smaller than the 1 tile for all we know. But it's always 1 tall. It's how wide that x tile is can change. Now the x squared tile, as a square, can shrink all the way down to like as small as you want it to be, and as big as you want it to be. All right, from my plan, I want to give you the last 15 minutes to work on this homework or the closure problem or anything else and ask questions to Mr. Smith or myself. So this next 15 minutes, we shouldn't really be talking with each other unless we're talking about math. So everyone put away your algebra tiles unless you know you're going to use them on your practice work. Let's get them back in the bag and put them away. And then you have 15 minutes to work on either 833 or closure problems that still need done. I'm really debating.
Whoa!
Which if we're done by Thursday, I could give you this back on Friday. I really can't really talk to Mr. Smith here in this conversation. Yeah, those just happened. We gotta get it back.
Oh my god.
Yeah, no, my Thursday night would have to be done. Yeah, I mean, I'm not worried about it. Well, I forget when revision deadline is.
Oh no!